You don't remember how you arrived at the cabin, only that the rain was falling the wrong way. Upward, like reversed tears, lifting from the soaked forest floor in slow, graceful spirals, dissolving into the black canopy as if the sky itself had begun to inhale. Your feet are wet, but the soles of your boots are dry. The gravel path beneath you hums faintly, like it remembers an engine long gone, like it still vibrates from a vehicle that stopped existing. And yet, there's no vehicle in sight. Ahead, cabin 6 leans a little left, as though trying to whisper something across the path to the trees. Its porch light flickers not in rhythm, but in hesitation. Too fast, then a pause, then nothing. Then it flares for a moment longer than it should, and in that flare, you see something behind the curtain. A silhouette. Then not. The welcome mat says nothing. It's blank, not faded, but deliberately blank, like whoever placed it didn't want you to know if you belonged. The door opens before you touch it. Not swings. Opens, as if a breath from within drew it inward, and the smell that meets you is part cedarwood, part mothballs, part rain-slick dreams that never dry. You step inside. The walls breathe. A gentle exhale from the corners. Walls that don't creak, but sigh. Your shoulder brushes a coat rack that wasn't there a moment ago. One hook holds a scarf. Your scarf. The one you lost 3 winters ago in another state entirely. A whisper rises through the static in your ears, not from the room, but from behind your thoughts, like a signal threading through memory. Welcome to Whispers Beyond Midnight. You don't react, not with surprise, not with recognition, because the voice feels stitched into the moment like thread into fabric. Of course it says that. Of course it's always said that. You move past it. To your right, a mirror, oval, silver-rimmed, dustless, though the rest of the cabin is layered in soft time. You glance into it, and for a second, you think you're outside again. But then your reflection turns towards you. Not a mimic, not reversed, just late. It moves a second after you do. It blinks after you've blinked. You try not to test it again. The main room is small, wooden floor, single bed with a floral quilt, a nightstand with no lamp, just a snow globe, unshaken but swirling. Inside the globe, a cabin, number 6, marked tiny above the miniature porch. A light flickers inside it. You don't want to shake it. You already know it matches the real one, too exactly. The curtain. It divides the cabin's back wall. No window behind it, just curtain. Fabric that breathes slightly inward, like a pulse that never fully exhaled. You think you hear something behind it. Not movement, something subtler. Listening, you pretend not to notice. You walk the room. You check the suitcase in the corner, old leather, slightly ajar. Inside, a folded photograph of a road with no signs, a cracked flashlight, and a radio that hums even without batteries. You don't remember packing it. You don't remember anything before the rain began to rise. The floorboards under the curtain creak differently than the rest. Hollow. No. Expectant. You reach toward the fabric. You stop. You hear the rain again. Not outside, but inside the mirror, rising backward. You sit on the edge of the bed. The mattress accepts you without protest. dust floats upward in slow spirals. The room blinks. That's the only word for it. Once, and everything dims for a breath. Then returns. The curtain hasn't moved. The suitcase clicks shut, slowly, of its own accord. You close your eyes, and the whisper returns. Not the words, just the texture. Velvet static, like someone brushing fingertips across a forgotten frequency. You feel it more than hear it. The voice that called you here isn't done. It never really begins or ends. It only loops. The mirror has fogged, but not from your breath. You rise. The curtain waits. And somewhere, a clock you cannot find ticks. Once. Then backwards. Then forgets it ever ticked at all. The suitcase is breathing again. Not loudly, just enough to make the leather swell slightly with each exhale, like a memory expanding in your peripheral vision. You hadn't touched it, hadn't even looked at it since the click. But now the latch is open, not all the way, just enough to suggest that it wants to be opened. Or maybe that it never was closed at all. You move slowly, as though your body is remembering gravity in reverse. Knees bend too long, fingertips hesitate too close, and the moment you lift the lid, the rain outside pauses. Not in silence, in suspense. Inside, the flashlight is missing. The photograph remains, but the road in it is no longer empty. Someone stands there now, at the curve where the fog begins. Their back is to you, but you know that shape, that tilt of the shoulders, that stillness in the way only something waiting too long can hold. You recognize the coat they're wearing, because it's yours. Or it was. Or it will be. Tucked into the corner of the suitcase, like a mistake the past forgot to keep hidden, is a small iron key. Familiar. Warm. As if it's been held recently. By hands that mirror yours, but don't share your guilt. You didn't bring this suitcase. That much you're sure of. So how did the key from your childhood bedroom drawer end up tucked inside it? You lift the key. It hums faintly, just under the bones of your fingers. Not mechanical, no. Organic, maybe. A heartbeat reduced to metal. A password not in words, but in sensation. You don't know what it unlocks, but you feel what it doesn't. Not the cabin door. Not the glove box of your car. If you ever had one. Not any of the doors you remember closing behind you. The mirror has unfogged, and your reflection is facing away. You turn around quickly. Nothing behind you. Nothing in the bed. The curtain doesn't move, but the air in the room changes. Not colder, just shifted. Like the gravity has realigned. Like the center of the cabin has drifted a few inches to the left. Your feet make no sound on the floor now. You approach the curtain again. But the key feels heavier now, pulling your arms slightly to the right, toward the wall beside the bed, where the wood paneling doesn't quite match. You crouch, you press your palm to it. A hollow breath exhales through the grain. You didn't notice the seam before, but it's here, a thin outline, almost ashamed of itself, where a hidden compartment might live. You press the key against it. It doesn't turn. It doesn't fit. But it vanishes. Not pulled, not dropped, simply absorbed. The wall takes it. You don't feel panic. You feel release. A faint sound clicks behind you. the radio. It's still off, visibly, certainly, but it's speaking again. Static words embroidered through silk noise, a half whisper trying not to be overheard. You left it behind because you had to, but it followed you anyway. You moved toward the sound, but your body doesn't follow quite right. It's like you shift in echoes. Your shoulder lags. Your shadow drifts ahead. The cabin, for a second, doubles. A mirrored version sliding across the original, like a curtain in reverse, revealing not what's behind, but what isn't. You hear breathing from behind the curtain. Not yours. Not now. You try to look away, but your reflection is in the mirror again. It is smiling, and holding the key you lost. Except now, it's turning toward the curtain. No, not the curtain in this room, the one behind them. They reach forward. You blink. You're back. The suitcase is closed again. The photograph is gone, and in your palm, slick with the sweat of dreams too warm, rests the key, unmoved, unreadable, and cold as forgetting. You stand, slower this time, slower than your own shadow. You listen. The radio is silent again, as if ashamed. The mirror doesn't reflect. The curtain doesn't breathe. But the clock ticks. You never found it, but it ticks now, louder, louder. Then it stops. Exactly at 3:33 a.m. The room doesn't change. You do. And the suitcase sighs again, almost like relief. You've tried not to stare at the curtain, but it's no longer content to simply exist in your peripheral vision. It pulses now. Not with wind. There is no wind. Not with breath. It's deeper than that. A slow inhale that doesn't stop, as if the fabric itself is caught mid-sigh, halfway between withholding and revealing. It doesn't move in rhythm. It doesn't follow your pattern. It has its own, and that pattern has begun to align with something beneath your ribs. You step toward it. Each step lands quieter than the last, like your body is slipping out of sync with the floor. The air grows thicker, not heavy exactly, but dense with something you cannot name. It smells faintly of cedar and static, and the sharp ghost of rain-soaked wool. You know what's behind the curtain. You always know what's behind the curtain. You just never remember until it's too late. Still, you reach. The fabric is colder than it looks, like it's been kept in shadow longer than it should. You pinch the hem with 2 fingers, the same way you'd lift a thread from your coat, and pull. But the curtain doesn't open. It peels. It unlayers itself slowly, like unwrapping something fragile, like revealing something that was never meant to be fully seen. As the folds fall, you glimpse nothingness, not emptiness, and nothingness. A dark space without shape, without furniture, without consequence. It's not a closet, it's not a wall, it's a void. You step forward instinctively, and the curtain closes behind you. No sound, no rustle, just the sensation of a door you never touched, choosing to forget you. Inside, it's darker than the cabin. Not pitch black, something worse. The kind of dark that leans inward, whispering absence into your bones. You try to breathe, but the air smells like pages torn from your own memory. A soft noise hums, faint, flickering. Ahead, suspended in the dark, is the flashlight. It doesn't float. It doesn't rest. It just is, hanging in a space with no ceiling, no floor, no logic. The beam doesn't shine forward. It flickers inward, as if the light were trying to collapse into itself. You reach toward it, and the moment your hand nears the beam, you see the bed again, but not from your eyes, from the ceiling, from above the quilt, where your body lies, perfectly still. Eyes closed, hands crossed over a key placed on your chest. You're watching yourself. You try to speak, to shout, but your mouth is already saying something else. A whisper, a name, not yours, not now. You try to move, and the flashlight flickers harder, pulsing in time with your heartbeat, until the pulse becomes static, and the static becomes a voice. Still behind the curtain, still behind the curtain, still behind. You open your eyes, real eyes, body eyes, and you're standing exactly where you were. The curtain is whole again. No opening, no seam, no breath. The suitcase is closed. The mirror is fogged. The snow globe has stopped swirling. And the clock, the one you never see, ticks again. 3:33 a.m. Exactly. The curtain doesn't move. You didn't imagine it. You didn't. But when you sit down again, there's a second dent in the mattress, and it's still warm. You find the photograph again, even though you're certain it was gone. It's sitting on the nightstand now, not in the suitcase, not in your hand, but where a lamp should be. The edges are curling slightly inward, like paper exhaling its last bit of memory. You pick it up, slow, the way you'd lift something still living, still remembering. It's heavier than it should be. Or maybe your hands are simply tired of holding things that don't make sense. The road in the photo curves left, a slow bend into fog, but the figure is gone now. Just a smear where they stood. Not scratched, not erased, moved. You blink. The photograph changes. Now the road curves right. You blink again. Straight. Again. Now you're standing in the photo. The ground beneath you is pale, gravel like crushed teeth. Fog creeping in sideways like it doesn't want to be seen. You look down, and the photograph is still in your hand. A photo of you holding a photo. Holding a photo. Holding. The recursion makes your stomach turn inward. You drop the image. It doesn't fall. It peels, like wallpaper separating from a dream. You're not in the cabin anymore. You're in the version of it captured on the photo's edge. The place it remembered, not the place you walked into. The mirror is cracked here. The bed is unmade, quilt tossed like someone left in panic. The suitcase is gone, but the key is embedded in the wall above the headboard, half sunken like a fossil. You reach for it, and the photograph snaps back into your hands. Now it shows a different room. A motel? No, not quite. You see a dresser, a static smudged TV, a child's drawing taped to a wall, a clock, digital and broken, forever reading 3:33 with a missing colon. You blink again, and you're holding not a photo, but a snow globe. And inside the globe is the motel room. And inside the motel room, the curtain is drawn, and something behind it is turning toward the glass. You don't look closely. You shake the globe. Big mistake. The snow doesn't fall. It spirals outward, upward, until the globe pulses faintly warm in your hand like a heartbeat. You hear a faint knock from inside it. No, from behind you. You turn. Cabin 6. Back again. The nightstand is empty. The bed is made. The curtain is still. The photograph is gone. But something new waits for you. A note, folded once, placed on the mirror's wooden frame. You unfold it slowly, careful not to breathe too hard, as if the paper might vanish if acknowledged too loudly. No handwriting, just a typed message. All caps. Stop blinking. You don't. You blink. And the photograph is back. Now, it shows the cabin as it is now, with you inside, staring at a photograph. The mirror's surface ripples, not in reflection, in time. You're not sure if you're remembering or being remembered. Outside, the rain has begun falling properly again, downward, soft. But each drop that hits the window echoes, not like water, but like footsteps. The curtain breathes inward. You hold the photo, and the photo holds you back. You finally see it. Not fully, never fully, but enough to know it was always there. The clock, tucked high in the corner where the wall meets ceiling, just above the curtain's right edge, where shadows gather like secrets trying not to be told. Its face is faded, the numbers worn smooth by time or memory, indistinguishable, like they never mattered in the first place. The hands move, but not toward anything. They twitch, hesitate, then continue as if second-guessing their own direction. The minute hand spirals slightly off-center, and the hour hand, it just shivers, vibrating gently, like it's afraid to choose a destination. You've never seen this clock before, and yet it makes your spine thrum with recognition. A hum behind your eyes. The way you feel when someone says your name from far away, but wrong. You watch the clock. It watches you back. The mirror begins to fog again, slowly, as though trying to protect you from what might reflect. But the clock doesn't blink. It has no lids to close. It only twitches. You blink instead, and the room changes. The curtain is gone, replaced by a door, not new, not added, just there, as if it had always been, but waited for you to notice. The door is painted the colour of sleep, that soft, unknowable blue that only appears behind closed eyelids when you're about to drift. It doesn't have a handle, only a keyhole, small, rusted, breathing faintly. You remember the key. You move toward the nightstand, but it's no longer there. Your hands go to your pocket, empty. Your other hand, not empty. The key is there, cold again. How long has it been there? You hold it to the light. The metal flickers. Not gold, not brass. Something older. Something forgotten. You approach the door. The key fits, but it doesn't turn. It breathes. Once. Twice. Like it's considering you. Then the door unlatches on its own, a click soft as a memory being forgiven. You open it, and there's only fog. Not behind the door, inside it. Fog held in a frame like a portrait of something you've forgotten how to remember. You step in. There is no floor, no wall, no end, only fog. You walk. Each step sounds like a heartbeat muted through cotton. Each step feels like an apology from the past. And then, You hear it. Tick, tick, tick. You don't know where it's coming from. Above, below, inside. You reach into your coat. No pocket. Your hand finds skin, finds chest, finds something inside you. Ticking. You're the clock now. And your hands are pointing nowhere. You try to stop walking, but your feet carry forward. You try to close your eyes, but your lids are stuck open. You try to scream, and the fog hums. A low, droning sound, like a lullaby slowed down, like a warning being remembered too late. Then a voice. Don't count. You don't mean to obey, but you do, because numbers don't belong here. Only moments, only loops. The tick becomes breath, the breath becomes silence. You turn, the door is gone. Only the cabin remains, somewhere behind, somewhere ahead, somewhere inside. You are the hands, you are the time. You are the moment that refuses to arrive. And somewhere high above you, just past the edge of the fog, a clock's hands point into blankness, but move anyway. It's waiting for you when you return. The cabin, the real one, or the version closest to it. The floorboards recognize your footsteps. The quilt is smoothed. The air is warm in a way that pretends it never left. Everything seems as it was, except now the radio is sitting on the windowsill. You don't remember placing it there. You don't remember it having a cord, and yet it hums before you even touch it. Not a song, not a station, not quite static, a breath. The sound a dream makes when it realizes it's being remembered. A soft, crinkling distortion, like tape warping in heat, like a cassette left too long in the sun. You approach slowly, like it's a sleeping animal. The dial is already lit, faint green, pulsing to a rhythm that matches the clock's irregular twitch. You don't need to turn it on, you just need to listen. So you do. First comes a voice, distant, female, almost familiar, but not yours. Still there, not much time. The loops are thinning, then static, then music, a lullaby slowed past the point of recognition, like a child's music box winding down underwater. The notes sag, stretch, fold inward. You reach for the dial, and the radio flinches, just once, then returns. You freeze. Something in the corner of the cabin shifts, not physically, but spatially, like the angle of the room realigned without moving the walls. You look, and the mirror is gone again. In its place, a black and white television. Snow on the screen. Not snow. Static. Same voice, now louder. Don't let the signal follow you out. You step back, and the radio volume drops automatically. You didn't touch it. You don't know how it hears you, but it adjusts to your breathing, your distance, like a heart trying to match yours. The suitcase clicks open behind you, not fully, just a reminder. You don't turn. Instead, you press your hand to the windowsill. It's wet. Rain? No. Condensation, maybe. The glass is cool to the touch, but dry beyond the pain. Outside, the woods are perfectly still. No wind, no sound. Only fog rising again from the gravel path. Not fast, not urgent, just rising, like a ritual returning to its beginning. The radio skips, you hear your name, not clearly, not fully, but it's your name, or someone's version of it, threaded through distortion, like it was sung into static by mistake. You reach toward the volume knob, and something grabs your wrist, not tight, just firm. You turn your head slowly. No one. But your arm doesn't move. You're not frozen. You're being held. A second passes. Then another. Then the radio releases you. Not the hand. Not your arm. The moment. It lets the moment go, like it lost interest. Your wrist is free. The volume lowers again. The lullaby returns. But this time, you understand the melody. It's the song your grandmother hummed when she thought you were asleep. The one from the motel. The one that faded when the rain started to fall upward. You whisper the tune back to the radio, and for just a breath, it harmonizes. The curtain shifts, even though there's no breeze. The clock ticks 3 times. The mirror is back. And in it, not a reflection, but a photograph. The one you dropped. It's being held by a child. The child turns toward you, and in the radio's softest moment yet, the voice returns. You left her behind the curtain. The cabin forgets how to hold silence. The walls lean inward. The snow globe rattles. And the suitcase begins to breathe again. You see yourself from behind, standing in the doorway, still, unmoving, breathing, but only just. The kind of breath people take when they're listening to something inside their chest instead of the world. You don't remember walking to the mirror, but now you're in front of it. Your reflection has turned away, not absent, not reversed, just wrong. It's you. You know it's you, but it isn't doing what you're doing. It stands in the open doorway of cabin 6, facing the rain, hands at its sides, unmoving while yours are trembling near the quilt. You step back, so does the reflection, but not in sync. There's a half-second delay, just enough to feel like it's thinking, watching. You don't want to test it again. You whisper something, not a word, a sound. The sound you used to make when you were small and wanted to be found in the dark without crying. The mirror fogs again, but not evenly, only over your reflection's face. You press your palm to the glass. It's warm now. Too warm. The fog wipes away beneath your skin like the mirror is remembering who you are, or pretending to. Behind your reflection, you notice something you hadn't seen before. A door, not in the cabin, in the image. Not the one from earlier, not the blue sleep-coloured one. This one's different, thinner, taller, painted the same colour as the motel walls from a lifetime ago, and carved into the wood. A name. Your name. You don't recognise the handwriting, but the shape of the letters makes your heart skip. Once, twice. Then settle into a rhythm it doesn't belong to. You whisper again. The mirror pulses. Once, twice. The curtain rustles. Not breath this time. Movement. You turn quickly. Nothing there. But the air smells different. Like ozone after lightning. Like burnt hair. Like a moment trying to erase itself. You glance back to the mirror, and the door behind your reflection is open. Black beyond it. No detail, No light, just a quiet, velvet void pulling gently. Your reflection steps through, not out of the mirror, deeper into it. And as it disappears, the mirror flashes, only for a second, showing you something else. A hallway, dim, long, lined with mirrors on both sides. And in every mirror, a different version of you, all standing still, all waiting for the curtain to move. The image vanishes, the mirror is blank, no fog, no face, hallway just you. And behind you, once again, the curtain, breathing, but slower now, as if it's tired, or mourning. You back away. The snow globe rattles faintly on the nightstand. The miniature cabin inside is empty now. No furniture, no curtain, just a door cracked open to fog. You hear the voice again. Not from the radio this time, but from the walls themselves. A child's voice. Soft. Sad. You weren't supposed to leave me. The temperature drops. The mirror doesn't fog. It frosts. Fine spider webs of ice trace out from where your hand had been, cracking slowly, curling toward the edges. You reach into your pocket. The key is gone again. In its place, a button. Tiny. Fabric covered. Torn from something you haven't worn in years. It smells like mothballs and salt water. You don't remember packing it, but you know exactly where it came from. You look back to the mirror, expecting to see nothing, but there's one last flicker. The child again. Just their eyes this time, watching you, waiting. The voice behind you now whispers, "Check the curtain." You do, and for the first time, you see feet beneath the fabric, bare, still, facing toward you. Edit, you don't want to move. Your body has grown quiet in that old way, not frozen, but listening for something it can't name, like waiting to be caught, dreaming. The feet beneath the curtain do not shift. They do not sway. They do not breathe. But you know they're not yours. And they're not new. You've seen them before. Years ago. Or nights from now. They were there when the road first turned in on itself. When you passed that gas station twice. And the sky was the wrong colour for dawn. They were always waiting behind the curtain, even before there was a curtain. You take one step closer, and the light in the room adjusts. Not brighter, not dimmer, just different. Warmer on one side, colder on the other. Like the cabin is split down a hidden seam. Like you've crossed some quiet threshold between what happened and what refused to. The curtain stirs, only slightly, enough to prove it remembers you. You speak, you don't mean to, but the sound spills from you in a single breath, just one word. Please. The feet don't respond. The snow globe rattles again, harder this time. You glance over, inside, 2 cabins now, side by side, both labelled 6, one with lights on. The other, windows dark, curtains fluttering without wind. You close your eyes and remember the loop, the suitcase, the mirror, the curtain. Every visit begins the same, but never ends. You open your eyes and look at the suitcase. It's open now. No one touched it. The flashlight sits atop the pile, flickering not outward, but in concentric inward pulses, like it's breathing in reverse. Beneath it, the photo again. But this time, the figure in the road is facing you. Their face is blurred, but the gesture is unmistakable. They're waving. You stare too long, and the image begins to fold, the photo curling in on itself like burnt paper. Before it disappears, you see something new. The figure's shadow. It stretches forward and splits. Two shadows, one figure. One walking toward the curtain, one walking toward the mirror. You let the photo fall. It lands silently. Or maybe it doesn't land at all. You turn toward the curtain. The feet are gone. Now just a ripple in the fabric, like something has stepped back. You wait. You whisper again, this time louder. Not please, but who? The answer doesn't come from behind the curtain. It comes from inside the mirror. Your own voice, through static. You reach for the curtain. It's cold again. Your fingers hesitate. The skin of your palm tingles. Not from fear, but from the weight of memory pressing outward. Like touching the fabric might make everything real again, or undo it entirely. You draw the curtain. It opens smoothly. Behind it, nothing. Just a wall. Not a secret door. Not a void. Just a wall of wooden slats. Unmoving. Undecorated. Untouched. But the air is wrong. It smells like electricity. Like old tears and scorched leaves. You step back, and behind you, where the suitcase had been, there is now a second mirror, identical to the first, but this one is cracked, top to bottom, and leaking a slow fog from the base. You approach. Inside, a different version of the room. No you, no suitcase. Just a single child's drawing tacked to the wall. It shows a stick figure in front of a cabin. Cabin 6. Curtains drawn. Rain falling upward. And scrawled in crayon beneath it. Me. You reach toward the glass. It doesn't respond. But you do. You turn. And the curtain closes itself. You didn't blink, you didn't breathe, but it closed all the same. You are alone again, except for the suitcase, the mirror, the curtain, the loop, and now the second clock, hung just above the cracked mirror. Its hands spin backward, then stop at 3:33 a.m. And you hear yourself whisper, "We've been here before." You were certain the curtain had sealed itself. Shut like a wound. Quiet like denial. Motionless like a truth too exhausted to be revealed again. But now, in the quiet lull between one breath and the next, you hear it again. The breathing. Soft, deliberate, almost shy. As though the curtain has forgotten how to pretend it isn't alive. You don't move toward it, not yet. You just listen. The inhale is long, too long, as if it's pulling in the room itself, as if the cabin were hollowing out from the inside. You look toward the mirror, still cracked, still leaking fog, still showing that child's drawing on the wall. Though now the figure has a second head drawn beside it in frantic red crayon, smudged, as if erased halfway and then drawn again. You look away. The suitcase is shut again. No latch sound, no movement, just shut, like it never opened, like it never revealed the flashlight or the photograph or your own breath curling along the lining of the past. You reach for the nightstand. There's something new. A torn scrap of motel notepad, folded once. Unfolded, it reads, "If the curtain breathes, it remembers you." You don't remember writing it, but the handwriting looks familiar. Not yours, not quite. A version of yours that stopped learning cursive. A version that signed their name with a heart in the corner. You swallow, hard. The radio crackles once, just enough to let you know it's still listening. Not playing, not speaking, just waiting. The curtain inhales again, longer this time. You step toward it slowly. The air thickens with each footfall, not humid but full of attention, like the room is turning inward to observe, like the walls are listening from inside their own grains of wood. You place your hand near the curtain's edge, not touching, just near. The fabric moves toward you, not a gust, not a sudden motion, a slow, gravitational lean, like a tired body falling gently toward the nearest memory. You whisper to it. You don't mean to. It just spills. "Do you remember me?" And the curtain exhales. Once. Softly. As if it did. You grip the edge now. It's warm. Not like skin. Like breath that's been held too long. You hesitate. Behind the curtain isn't just space. It's decision. It's consequence. Wrapped in fabric. But you peel it back anyway. And this time, there is something there. A room. Different. Same dimensions. Same floor. But stripped. Bare walls. No bed. No mirrors. No suitcase. Only a single chair. And on the chair, a coat. Yours. The one you haven't worn since you were 13. Still damp from that night. Still smelling of smoke and river water and fear. You walk in. Each step echoes like it shouldn't. Like the floor was waiting to speak. You reach the chair, touch the coat, and beneath it, tucked into the seat's cracked leather cushion, another photo, not of a road, of you, asleep, here, in this cabin, tonight. The timestamp in the bottom right corner is written in shaky black pen, 3:33 a.m. Your hand starts to tremble. The coat falls from the chair on its own. You don't pick it up. You back away, and the curtain closes behind you again. Firmer, heavier, final. The radio crackles one word through the static. Repeat. The snow globe shudders. And now there are 3 cabins inside, all labelled 6, all showing different windows, and in each one, a curtain, breathing. You're holding it again. The flashlight. You didn't pick it up. You don't remember walking to the suitcase. You didn't hear the latch click. Didn't see the flap lift open like a mouth remembering hunger. But now the flashlight is in your hand, and this time it hums, not electrically, emotionally, a soft pulse-like rhythm that travels through your palm, up your wrist, and settles just behind your eyes. You aim it forward instinctively, but the beam refuses to stretch outward. Instead, it coils tightly, folding back in on itself, like a whirlpool of light trying to consume its own reflection. You turn it off. The room dims. You turn it on. The room contracts. Not visually, spatially. The corners inch closer. The walls lean forward, as if trying to listen harder. You swing the flashlight toward the closet, and for the first time, you realize there isn't one. There never has been. But now, a narrow door exists where you thought the closet might be. You approach, each step clicking faintly like a switch flipping in reverse. The doorknob is coated in dust, and underneath your touch, the dust shifts, forming a faint spiral, a fingerprint that isn't yours. You hesitate. The flashlight flickers again, not dimming, but folding inward, collapsing its glow until it seems to shine into itself. You open the door. A staircase. Descending. You didn't know the cabin had a basement. You're not sure cabins are supposed to. You descend anyway. Each step echoes not behind you, but ahead. As if someone is walking 2 steps lower, always just out of sight, mirroring your pace in a different memory. The walls here aren't made of wood. They're lined with mirrors. Not whole ones, shattered, melted, fogged over in patches. Some reflect you, some don't. One shows the back of your head. You keep going. The flashlight sputters, not failing, just rethinking. The glow narrows, coils, turns sharper, as if now aiming inside your chest. You feel it, a warmth where your heart should be, but deeper, lower, as if you swallowed something lit and it's waking up. The stairs end. The room at the bottom isn't really a room. It's a field. How? You don't know. Just wild grass, endless cold silver moonlight pulsing down from somewhere without stars. A single motel sign flickers on the horizon. Vacancy, blinking like a heartbeat trying to find its rhythm. You raise the flashlight. Its beam doesn't reach the sign. It turns instead, bending gently until it points downward, illuminating your own shoes, but not your current ones. The ones from your childhood. Muddy, mismatched laces. One sock with a hole in the heel. You hear a noise behind you, not loud, just familiar. The suitcase dragging, but you didn't bring it. You turn, nothing there. Only fog, curling low like regret made visible. You whisper your name, and the fog whispers it back, but slightly wrong. The syllables are in the right order, but the cadence is different. Not like someone mispronouncing, like someone trying to remember. You move toward the sign. Each step feels less like walking and more like returning, but the flashlight grows heavier. Your arm begins to ache. The glow bends again, now toward your chest. You stop. You aim it at your heart. The beam pierces skin without light, and inside, you see the curtain, breathing, but from within, not fabric anymore. Now made of rib and breath and memory. You flick the switch off. Darkness, but not fear, not yet. Just silence, waiting. You turn around. The stairs are gone. The field remains. And at your feet, the flashlight lies where you never dropped it, still glowing inward, still pulsing faintly, like it's waiting for you to remember how to use it. You pick it up again, and behind you, somewhere in the mirrors you left behind, something moves. Just enough for you to know that you are not the only one descending. Not this time. Not alone. It begins like a sigh. A long exhale from the earth itself, slow and dense, as if the ground beneath your feet has grown weary of pretending to hold your weight. You hear it first. Not drops striking the roof, but lifting. A soft reversal, gentle pattering that grows quieter the harder you try to listen. You look up. Nothing falls. But the fog begins to thin, not recede, just lighten, as if something above is drawing the atmosphere upward. And then you see them, droplets of rain, climbing. Gravity unwinds. Each drop rises in slow arcs, stretching toward a sky that no longer holds stars. Only a dull, low blue, like a bruise waiting to form. The air tastes like static, the kind that builds behind your teeth when you've been quiet too long, the kind that waits to be exhaled into a confession. You move forward. The flashlight is still in your hand, dimmed now to a breathless glow. It pulses with your heartbeat, or something close to it. The field is soft beneath your shoes, but with every step the grass seems to shorten, folding back into the soil like a retreat. In the distance, the motel sign flickers again. Vacancy, then just see why, then nothing. A breath passes, then the radio crackles, even though you never brought it down here. Don't look up too long. You'll remember. You don't mean to look up, but now that you've heard it, you do. And the sky answers. Not with stars, with eyes. Dozens, hundreds, small, reflective, scattered like glitter on the underside of clouds, blinking slowly, each in a different rhythm. Some open, some close, some fixed only on you. You shut your eyes. You feel the rain brushing your cheeks now. Not falling, rising past you. Threads of cold memory trailing along your jaw. Up your scalp, spiraling back into the clouds like forgotten thoughts returning to where they were born. A voice hums in the distance. Not singing, rocking. A lullaby made of vowels, no consonants. A language designed to hypnotize. You open your eyes again. The field has changed. There are chairs now, just 3, placed with impossible symmetry, each facing the same direction, toward nothing, toward fog. One chair is familiar, worn red cushion, bent leg. That's your grandmother's chair, the one she never let you sit in. The second chair, metal, rusted, covered in carvings, letters scratched by fingernails or keys. A motel name you half remember. A room number, 6. Of course. The third chair is empty, but warm. You feel it before you touch it, like someone just left, like someone is watching to see if you'll sit. You don't, not yet. Instead, you kneel. Beneath the chair, a mirror lies in the grass, handheld, oval, the kind you'd find in a vanity drawer next to crumbling receipts and old perfume. You pick it up. It reflects only your mouth, not your face, just lips, slightly parted, and from them, a voice that isn't yours whispers. I was never behind the curtain. You were. You drop the mirror. It doesn't fall. It rises, floats upward, slowly, joining the rain. You look at your hands, wet with nothing, dry with everything. You turn to the flashlight. It's gone, replaced by a snow globe. Inside, 3 chairs, 3 mirrors, and something standing behind one of them. The snow begins to swirl inside the globe, though you haven't moved, and the sound returns. that same lullaby, now from inside the globe. The rain continues its ascent. The sky begins to pulse like a throat swallowing stars, and you hear the voice again, from everywhere, from nowhere. You left the curtain open too long. The fog curls tighter around your ankles. You hold the globe close and whisper your own name, just to hear how it sounds before it's pulled upward with the rain. The radio turns on by itself, not with a click, not with a hum, just on. Soft light spills from the dial like a memory leaking through stitched silence. You're back in the cabin now. Somehow. Somewhere between the field and the chair and the floating mirror, the floorboards have returned beneath your feet. Familiar. Worn. Slightly slanted. The kind of tilt a house takes on when it's held too many secrets too long. You didn't hear the door open, didn't feel the curtain close behind you. You only know you're inside again because the air is cedar drenched and still, and the clock above the mirror ticks once, then pauses, then ticks again. The radio speaks, a voice through the static, not distant, not cracked, clear, like it never belonged to this place. Like it came from your earliest sleep, your grandmother. She hums before she speaks, and you know the tune before your mind catches the notes. It's the lullaby, the one she sang to you when your fever peaked and you thought the stars had fallen into your pillow. Still awake, little moth? You freeze. You haven't heard that name in decades. She only ever called you that once, the night the power went out in her house, and you cried at the shadows on the wallpaper. You whisper back, "Is it you?" The radio chuckles. Not cruel, not sweet, just knowing. You left something open again, didn't you? You don't answer, because you don't know what she means. Or maybe you do, and you're afraid she's right. The mirror shows the cabin now, not your reflection, just the room from above, as if the ceiling were gone and memory had learned to hover. You see yourself, small, still, and in your lap, the snow globe, still swirling, still showing the 3 chairs. But now there's a 4th, occupied. The figure is blurred, but they sit with one hand lifted, waving, like they've been waiting for you to notice them since the first section of this dream. You look down. The snow globe isn't in your hands. It's on the bed, spinning slowly, without motion. The radio clicks. Your grandmother sighs again. Always chasing echoes, little moth. Always forgetting which side of the curtain you're on. You step forward, but the floor stretches beneath you, just enough to make walking feel like drifting. You reach the radio, press your hand to the top. It's warm, still humming. You whisper, "Are you behind the curtain?" She doesn't answer at first, then softly, "No, darling, I was the curtain." The room breathes in, the radio switches off, but the voice remains, lingering in the wood, in the quilt, in the stitching of the room silence. You turn to the curtain. It's open, not wide, just slightly, enough to reveal a window. No, not a window, a mirror, tucked into the wall where a window should be, framed in soft velvet. Behind it, the shape of your grandmother, sitting in her old chair, Not waving, not smiling, just watching. The mirror fogs slowly, and her shape vanishes with it. You feel something under your foot. A button. Small, familiar, fabric wrapped. You pick it up, you close your hand around it, and from inside your palm, faint as a memory inhaling for the last time, her voice again. You'll know when the loop forgets you. The cabin goes still. The snow globe stops. The suitcase breathes. And the clock, both of them, strike 3:33 a.m. Exactly. At once. It shouldn't be warm. Not the snow globe. Not the cold glass memory of a miniature place. But here you are, holding it again, and it's alive beneath your fingers, radiating a soft, slow warmth, like something waking gently from beneath layers of sleep. You don't remember picking it up. You only know that you're holding it now, and the warmth is not comforting. Not quite. It's familiar. The kind of warmth you feel when touching an old blanket still shaped by someone else's sleep. A warmth that knows your name before you remember it. Inside the globe, the scene has shifted. The cabins are gone. Now there is only a clearing. Round, perfectly symmetrical, too perfect to be natural. A single wooden chair sits at its center, empty, until it isn't. As you watch, the chair fills, not all at once, not at essence, not with a flicker, but slowly, as if the memory is rebuilding itself, frame by frame. A figure materializes, you, but smaller, child-sized. You're holding a suitcase, not dragging it, cradling it, like a stuffed animal too cherished to let go. Your eyes in the snow globe stare up through the glass, unblinking, as if aware that someone is watching. You, now. The globe pulses again. The snow swirls, slower than before, rising slightly before falling, as though uncertain of its direction. You press your thumb to the base. There's an engraving. You never noticed it before. A single word. Return. You whisper it, not out of curiosity, but instinct. The way a sleeper says the name of someone they've lost, even before waking. The globe responds. It brightens faintly, not with light, but with remembrance. The scene inside shifts. The child you vanishes. The chair is empty again. Then the fog rolls in, filling the globe until nothing remains but swirling memory. You pull your hand away. The warmth lingers in your skin. You set the globe down on the nightstand, and it hums once. A small click sounds within it, like a gear resetting. You glance toward the curtain. Still. Quiet. But you know it's not done. Not yet. You reach for the suitcase. The latch lifts without sound. Inside, a mirror. Small, round, handheld. Its surface fogged, but only from the inside. You wipe it. Your reflection doesn't appear. Instead, the clearing from the snow globe. Now, in motion. The chair, the fog, and a figure pacing its edge. They don't look at the chair. They don't sit. They just circle. Again and again. You know the pattern. It's how you walk when you're waiting for something that won't call your name. You close the mirror. You look at the bed. There's a dent there now. Fresh. The pillow's warm. The clock above the mirror ticks twice, not matching the one above the suitcase, which pulses instead with a subtle, mechanical inhale. You return to the snow globe. The fog inside is clearing again, this time revealing the child you once more. But something has changed. Your suitcase is gone, and your hands are empty. You look down at your own. You're holding a button in one, and the snow globe in the other, but nothing inside yourself feels full. The radio clicks. A voice whispers, "Don't drop it." You don't know if it means the globe, or the memory, or something you haven't yet discovered is missing. You cradle the globe gently. It warms again. The curtain shivers slightly. A breeze? A breath? No, a thought. You set the snow globe on the windowsill. The snow begins to fall again. Normal now. Downward. Slow. Whisper light. And behind the curtain, a shape. Small. Still. Holding something in its lap. You lean closer. And the figure lifts its head. Just enough for you to see your own eyes. But younger. Wider. Unblinking. Holding the globe. Watching you. Through the glass from inside. The mirror isn't cracked anymore. It isn't whole either. It's open. You didn't see it happen. There was no shatter. No hinge. No pulse of light. Just a soft awareness settling in your chest like a missed heartbeat. The mirror no longer reflects. It leaks. Fog drips from the edges like memory thawing too quickly. The surface ripples gently, as if stirred from beneath by a fingertip too tired to stay submerged. You approach slowly, your shadow stretching out ahead of you, bending at odd angles, touching the mirror before you do. There's something behind the glass now. Not in the room, in the space between. You can almost make out a shape. Long, tall, familiar, in the way that dreams mimic real people until you wake up and realize the face was yours, just rearranged. You lean closer. The mirror remains fogged, but the outline becomes clearer. Not your reflection, not entirely, but your posture, your stance, your breath. The you behind the mirror doesn't move, but it is not still. It waits. You whisper, "Did you come out?" No answer. The room doesn't shift, but something in it does. You feel it first in your feet, a slow rise, like the floor is inflating beneath you, not lifting, breathing. You step back. The mirror exhales. A brief gust of air escapes the glass, cool and sweet, like the air in your grandmother's attic. Dust and pine and paper dolls left in sun-stained trunks. It brushes your face like a kiss from something that used to remember you. And then you see it. The curtain. Moved. Only slightly. But enough to see behind it a handprint pressed against the wooden wall, too small to be yours, too recent to be old. You walk toward it. The snow globe on the windowsill vibrates, not violently, but enough to rattle its base. Inside, the scene has changed again. The cabin is no longer still. A storm rages around it. Lightning cracks across the tiny glass sky. Inside the cabin, a mirror, wide open. You glance back at yours, still ajar, still spilling. From the corner of your eye, something slips. A flicker, a figure. You turn. Nothing there, only the mirror, and your own shape, stepping slightly out of sync. Not fully mirrored, not reversed, just late, like it's trying to keep up. You raise your hand. Your reflection does too, but just after. And its eyes look slightly past you, not at you, past you. You turn around slowly, and the suitcase is open. You never heard the latch, but it's open. And inside, the radio, not playing, just humming, like a throat clearing softly before the words begin. You lean down, touch it. It turns on without resistance. A voice breathes through the static. I didn't mean to leave it open. You recognize the tone. It's yours. Worn thin, regret wrapped. The mirror hums again. And this time, something leaves. Not visibly, just emotionally. You feel it go. A pressure lifts from your chest, and a weight settles in your hands. You look down. You're holding the mirror now, not the one on the wall. A small one, the kind you used to carry in your coat pocket, the one that shattered when you tripped on the motel stairs in 1999. But it's whole again. Your thumb traces its edge. No cracks, just condensation. A word written across the glass. Close. You don't know if it's a warning or an instruction. You raise it slowly to your face. This time, you see nothing. No reflection. Only a curtain. Still. Unmoved, but pulsing faintly. You lower the mirror. The curtain shifts. The mirror on the wall begins to frost again, and the voice from the radio whispers, more faintly now. Someone stayed too long. You walk to the wall mirror, reach toward it, but the surface has hardened again, solid, sealed. Something left, something is gone, but the shape it wore remains in the room with you. You feel it behind you, not moving, just waiting, as if it forgot why it came, and stayed anyway. You open the door, not because you want to leave, not really, but because the cabin feels too full now. Not of people, not of sound, but of presence, like a thought that's been circling too long, looking for a mouth to escape from. The knob turns gently, and the wood sighs open. Outside, the road is wrong. It curves the opposite direction. You don't remember it bending left. You step outside. The air tastes like breath exhaled too late. Warm from the wrong direction. Thick with fog that clings to your lashes. There are no stars. Only that dull, pulsating bruise of a sky. Just like before. Just like always. And there, at the edge of the gravel, a road sign. You haven't seen one before. Not here. Not in this place. Not until now. The metal is old, dented, faded by time that doesn't tick the same way. Black letters on a white background, smeared as though someone tried to erase them with the heel of a dream. It reads, Cabin 6. Again. Below it, in smaller text. No exit this way. You don't laugh, you don't run, you just walk. Because you know this road, even if it never knew you. The fog parts reluctantly as you move, curling like pages unwilling to be turned. The gravel crunches beneath your boots in a rhythm that feels learned. Not walked, rehearsed. Every step a memory your body never chose. Another sign. This one hangs crooked, written in marker. You are here. An arrow points both left and right, and down. You look beneath your feet. The ground is softening. Gravel sinking slowly into itself, like memory fading in real time. You kneel, touch the earth. It pulses, just once, like a heart deep beneath the surface. You stand quickly. Your name echoes faintly behind you. You turn. No one there. Only the cabin. Its lights flicker in apology. The curtain shifts, but no wind stirs. You keep walking. Another sign. This one is wood. Old. Splintered. The words carved, then scratched out, then rewritten. Detour. This time you stay. You want to ask who wrote it. You want to ask how they knew. But instead, you reach into your pocket. The button is gone. In its place, a map, drawn in red ink. Child's handwriting. Just a loop. No compass. Just arrows circling around cabin 6. Again, and again, and again. The edge is torn. Where there should be a key, a legend. There's only a phrase. When the curtain breathes, turn back. You fold the map. Keep walking, but the fog thickens. You turn left. The sign repeats. Cabin 6. Again, you turn right. Cabin 6. Again, you walk straight ahead, and somehow, from behind you, you hear a suitcase click shut. You stop. Turn. Nothing. No path, no sign. Only the cabin again. Closer now. Closer than it should be. The door still open. Curtain still breathing. Radio still humming faintly, though you left it behind. You look down. You're holding the snow globe. You don't remember picking it up. Inside, a road. Lined with signs. Each one reads your name, and beneath each, a direction. Toward fog, toward curtain, toward home, toward you. You shake the globe. The signs vanish. The snow begins to rise instead of fall. You don't run. You just turn around. The cabin is behind you. The road is ahead. And the fog leans inward, like it's listening. Like it's waiting for you to forget you ever tried to leave. You notice it first in the corners, the way frost usually begins. But this isn't cold, and it doesn't glisten. It moves too deliberately, like it has joints, like it knows the shape of the window and wants to trace it exactly. Static, not light, not dust. A crawling fuzz that flickers and clings, inching inward across the glass, pixelating the pane like an old television caught between stations. You stand frozen in the doorway. Behind you, the road that loops. Ahead, the cabin, unchanged but different. Always different. The static spreads. It curls like fingers pressed to glass. You step inside. The air smells faintly of ozone. Not storm slick, but burnt. Like a wire that whispered too many secrets before snapping. You shut the door behind you. The windows pulse, not with light, but memory. Shapes shift in the glass. Not reflections, not shadows, more like intentions, something trying to remember what a window is. You turn to the mirror, still sealed, still fogged. But now it vibrates faintly at the edges, as if holding back a frequency you're not yet meant to hear. The radio clicks on. No tuning, no preamble, just sound. Static first, then a voice. Not your grandmother this time, not the child, yours. but strained, slowed, whispered backward and reassembled wrong. Not in. The static interrupts, then returns. The window is watching. You step toward the nightstand. The snow globe is gone. In its place, a key. Not the one from before. This one is bone. You know this because it's slightly warm and slightly wrong. Carved into its handle, a circle. Inside the circle, the number 6. You don't ask, you just pocket it. The static creeps faster now. Not just windows, the radio, the mirror, even the curtain hums faintly with it. Not moving, not breathing, but charged. You approach the window nearest the bed. Press your palm to the glass. The static curls away from your skin, avoids you, reverses, not in fear, but in deference. And for a moment, you see something outside. A road sign, close, pressed to the side of the cabin. You never noticed it there before. Its letters flicker. Don't answer. You step back, the radio calls your name. Not the name you use in now, the one you buried. The name only spoken in that house, in that room, before the curtain was ever drawn. You don't answer. The static builds, now thickening at the baseboards, curling along the floor, touching the suitcase, which jerks slightly, just once. Enough to remind you, it's never fully closed. You reach for it. The static recoils. You open it. Inside, the snow globe. Returned. Still swirling. But now the scene is inside the cabin. This room. This moment. You see yourself. Tiny, trembling, staring into a suitcase. And behind your miniature figure, outside the window, a figure. Faceless, watching. You lift your head, look to the real window. It's clear. The static's gone. Nothing outside, only fog. But the hum remains. Your ears ring. The radio sputters. The signal sees you now. You grab the globe, hold it tightly. It warms, but not comfortingly. Like warning, the mirror cracks just once. A spiderweb crack from upper left to center. The curtain twitches, not in breath, in recognition. You step back, one step, then two. The lights flicker. The static is inside the cabin now, crawling along the walls like a tide in reverse. And just before the radio cuts out completely, the voice whispers, "Don't touch the glass." You do, because you always do. And the cabin pulses. Once, hard, like a skipped heartbeat, and then silence. But the window, still watching. You dream of walking again. Not running, not fleeing, just walking. Boots on gravel, mist clinging to your shins. Fog licking the headlights of a car you never quite catch up to. The road bends left, then left again, then left again, until you realize you've circled. Not the forest, yourself. You're not outside the cabin, you're inside the thought of leaving it. Every step feels familiar, but not yours. as if your legs are acting out someone else's ritual. A loop passed down like a lullaby no one knows the ending to. You don't remember where it began, but you know where it always ends. It doesn't. It loops. And each time, something changes. A sign faces a new direction. A curtain is drawn just slightly more open. A photo lies half a step closer to the door. And the suitcase, it breathes longer between clicks. You whisper aloud to no one. Was I always going to come back? The fog answers, softly. You never left. The cabin appears again, not appearing, reappearing, reclaiming the space it never lost. Porch light flickering like a heartbeat trying to decide whether or not to stop. The door is ajar, not open, just inviting. You step forward. The ground is softer now, like stepping into wet paper. You lift your foot and see no footprint, because you never made one. Not here, not really. Inside, the air is quiet, but alert. Listening in that way walls only do when they've memorized your weight. You pass the mirror. It doesn't show you anymore. Only the chair, empty, facing the curtain, waiting. The snow globe is gone, replaced by a folded napkin, stained faintly with lipstick the colour of old carnations. A kiss mark on one side, your name scrawled on the other. You left the loop open. You sit, because you've always sat here, because this is the moment the loop recognises itself. The radio hums without prompting. No voice, no static, just a long, low tone. The sound an old television makes when dreaming in grayscale. The clock ticks, 1, then back, then forward again. 3:33 a.m. Always 3:33, but not always the same night. You realise something. Every time the clock strikes, a version of you wakes up. Not here, somewhere else, somewhere similar. A hallway, a field, a motel where the ice machine never works and the room key turns both ways. You've been her before. You've been them. All the sleepers circling their own reflections. You whisper, am I the one dreaming, or the one being dreamt? The curtain stirs. This time, you don't reach for it. You just sit with it. Breathe with it. It breathes back. A slow, rhythmic inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And somewhere inside that rhythm, so faint you almost miss it, a voice. The road doesn't end. It loops. The radio dies. The mirror flickers. Your reflection turns its head away, not from you, towards something you haven't noticed yet. You follow its gaze, upward, to the ceiling, where a hatch is now visible. You've never seen it before, or maybe you always ignored it. You stand. The chair is warm beneath you. You climb. There's a cord. You pull it. The hatch opens with a sound like breath catching in the throat. A ladder unfolds. And above it, darkness, but not threatening, not cold, just dark, quiet, like the moment between dreams. You place one foot on the rung and hear your own voice say, you've done this before. You climb anyway, because you always do, because the loop needs you to, and because somewhere above, a curtain waits, still breathing, still remembering, still deciding if this time you'll finally stay. The ladder sighs beneath your weight. each rung cold with absence, slick with breath that doesn't belong to you. Your fingers curl around the wood, not splintered, not polished, but worn smooth by repetition, by all the versions of you who climbed this way before. The air above the hatch is neither warm nor cold, only still. Stillness so perfect it feels staged. You rise into it. The attic isn't an attic. There are no boxes, no beams, no insulation. Just a hallway, carpeted in dark green, patterned faintly with vines, the kind that grow nowhere but in dreams of old hotels. The ceiling slants slightly, the walls too close. Doors line the corridor, one after the other, spaced just a little too perfectly. Identical brass knobs, identical numbers, 6, 6, 6. And at the end of the hall, instead of a door, a mirror, not a framed one. A full slab of silvered glass, stretched floor to ceiling, wall to wall, as if the hallway ends with itself, turning inward. You walk. Each step lands in silence that doesn't echo. No creaks, no hums, just the sound of your breath remembering how to slow down. You pass the doors. Each time you reach for one, the knob grows warm and disappears. Melts back into the wood like it was never meant to open. The hallway wants you to go straight. It needs you to, so you do. The mirror waits, unfogged, uncracked, impossibly clear. And inside it, you, but different. You're standing still, hand raised, knocking, not hard, not desperate, but rhythmic. 3 soft knocks. Pause. 3 again, like Morse code whispered through fingertips. You don't remember raising your hand, but now it's lifted, palm flat to the glass. Your reflection mirrors you, but slower. Knock, knock, knock. You whisper, "Who are you?" The reflection stops, smiles faintly, and knocks again. Behind you, one of the doors creaks open. Just an inch. No breeze. No invitation. Just a crack. You don't look. Not fully. But your eyes catch the number before it vanishes. 5. All the others were 6. Only this one is different. And only this one opens. The mirror fogs. Your reflection is gone. Only the hallway remains. Mirrored, endless, bending slightly as though warped by time or pressure or sleep. You turn toward the open door. You enter. The room is dim. Lamplight flickers gently from a desk in the corner, and on the desk, a radio. Old. Familiar. Wrapped in a green scarf you haven't seen since your grandmother's funeral. You approach it. It clicks on without being touched. No voice. Just static. Soft. Like breathing. And beneath it, a layer of sound so faint it almost isn't there. Knocking 3 times. Pause. 3 again. From behind you, you turn. There's a mirror on the wall. Framed. Round. Too small to see anything clearly, but you step closer anyway. Inside it, a version of you, knocking. This time, the knocks are louder. You lean in. Your reflection doesn't mimic you now. It waits, still hand, still eyes, still knocking. From behind the mirror, you place your palm to the surface. It's warm. Too warm. It beats. Like a second heart. You don't pull away. You whisper again. "Who are you?" And your reflection finally answers. Lips move slowly. but no sound emerges. You watch, you read the motion. The one who stayed. The reflection smiles again, places its hand against yours, and knocks once more. You wake on the floor of the attic. No hallway, no doors, only you, and the round mirror in your lap, still fogged, still breathing, and from far below, beyond the hatch, beyond the ladder, beyond the cabin walls, you hear someone knocking. 3 times. Pause. 3 again. And you understand it's your turn to answer. You descend the ladder 1 step at a time, unsure if you're still dreaming or if the dream has chosen to wake before you. The air thickens the closer you drop toward the hatch, dense like underwater silence, or like breath caught mid-sentence. You expect the cabin, the bed, the mirror, the floor that remembers your footsteps. Instead, you find absence. The room is whole, untouched, as it always is, but utterly empty. Not vacant, not abandoned, just waiting. The furniture has shape but no presence. The bed is made, but there's no indentation where you once sat. The snow globe is on the windowsill, but inside, no cabins, no chairs, no fog, just blank snow, forever falling. And the curtain, it moves, not gently, not like breath this time. It flutters, ever so slightly, as though someone passed behind it just before you arrived. You scan the room. No radio, no suitcase, no mirrors, just the curtain, whispering motion into stillness. You speak, soft. Hello? No answer, not even the echo of your own voice. The air feels postscript, like the moment after a goodbye that came too soon. You walk to the curtain, stand before it. It's different now, longer, touching the floor. It covers the entire back wall, and as it sways, it reveals glimpses of nothing. Just shadow and wood, and a chill you can't quite find the source of. You reach out, pause, because this feels different. This time, you're not behind the curtain. You're the one about to pull it open, and the room doesn't want you to. You feel that in the way the floor hums, the way the window fogs, the way the snow globe begins to rattle softly, though no one touched it. But still, you pull, and behind the curtain, nothing, just the wall, wood panels, dust, stillness. But there's a shape in the dust, faint, like someone once stood here, long ago, long enough to leave behind the memory of weight, the impression of waiting. You kneel, touch the floor. It's warmer where the shape was. Your fingers trace the outline. Small feet, bare, a handprint, pressed into the grain. You close your eyes. Try to remember who was here. A child, or you, or both. You stand slowly. The curtain slips back into place on its own. Not abruptly, just deliberately, like a secret being recovered. You hear something then, from behind the cabin, a soft sound, not a footstep, not a breath, a knock, 3 times, pause, 3 again, from the outside wall. You open the door. Fog, thick and low, unmoving. You step out. There's no path, no signs, just fog and silence. You call out again. Is someone there? No reply. Only the trees. Too still. You turn back, and the door is gone. Where the cabin should be. Just curtain. Hung in mid-air. Waving. Breathing. Hiding nothing. And behind it, you. Knocking. From the other side. Waiting to be let in. You reach out. Touch the fabric. And the knock stops. The fog tightens. And suddenly, the room is there again. Exactly where you left it. Bed, window, suitcase, radio. As if it never moved. As if you had. But you know something's changed. Because now, the curtain no longer hides. It remembers. And it moves even when you're not looking. Because it knows. You were never behind it. You were always inside it, waiting to be found. It starts with the sound. Not a memory, not a hallucination. A real sound, low and guttural and full of heat. An engine turning over, briefly choking, then catching. It roars. You jump, because there is no car. Not outside the cabin. Not in the clearing. Not even in your memory of arrival. But the sound persists, vibrating the floor beneath your feet, rattling the window panes like fingers drumming on a coffin lid. The suitcase clicks once. The snow globe pulses with light. You cross to the door. Open it. Fog rolls in thick coils across the gravel. But no headlights. No tail lights. No tires carving through the mist. Just the roar, still lingering, fading slowly, as though whatever machine summoned it has already left. You take one step out, then another, and then silence. Not natural silence, not peace, erased silence. Like the world remembered it was being watched and covered its tracks. You walk forward, the road doesn't appear, just grass. Knee-high now, glistening wet, bending under its own weight. In the distance, 2 brief flashes. Headlights? No. Eyes. Then nothing. The engine starts again, but now it's behind you. You spin. Cabin 6. Exactly as you left it. Porch light dimmed. Windows still fogged. But something is different. There's a trail. Faint tire tracks curving away from the left side of the cabin, disappearing into the trees. You step toward them. They lead to nothing. Just deeper fog. No car. But the smell of exhaust hangs heavy. And something else. Leather. Hot metal. Old tape decks that swallowed songs. You crouch. Press your hand to the tracks. Still warm. Something was just here. A moment ago. A version of now you didn't catch in time. You stand. Look back to the cabin. One window is open. The curtain inside flutters like it's waving or warning. You re-enter. Everything is quieter. The snow globe is gone. The mirror shows the road now. The one that used to loop. But this time it's straight. Endless. Lit by moonlight that pulses like a heartbeat. You watch as a vehicle approaches in the glass. Old. Black. Familiar. Too familiar. It passes the cabin. Stops. And then nothing. You look away from the mirror. Nothing out the rear window. You return to the suitcase. Open it. Inside, your car keys. From your first car. The one that never started again after the accident. Next to them, a cassette. No label. No case. Just a tape. You know the song on it. You don't want to remember, but you do. The radio hums softly, as if it's trying to resist turning on. You press play on the thought. The room shivers. A melody leaks from nowhere. Your grandmother's lullaby. But slower. Reversed. Distorted. You feel the engine again. In your chest now. Pulsing like memory on fire. You whisper, "Am I supposed to follow it?" No reply. Only the headlights again. Flashing once through the fog. Calling. You pocket the keys. Not knowing what they'll unlock. You open the door one last time. The car is there now. Parked. Driver's side door open. No one inside. But the engine, still warm, still waiting. You take a step toward it, and the suitcase shuts behind you. With finality, with breath, with purpose. The radio cuts out, and from somewhere inside the trees, you hear the road whisper, "It only moves when you're not looking." You reach for the door, slide into the driver's seat. Everything fits, even though it shouldn't. The rear view mirror shows the cabin. Curtain drawn, window still open. You turn the key. The engine answers, like it always has. But the headlights don't illuminate the road. They illuminate you. And you realize just before you shift into drive, you are the passenger, always were. The car moves, and the fog parts. Not forward, but back. Back into the loop. It clicks just after you sit, sharp, deliberate, final. The kind of sound that doesn't beg for your attention. It claims it. You freeze, fingers still brushing the doorknob, one foot outside the cabin and the other inside, as if caught between endings and beginnings. You turn, the suitcase, centered now at the foot of the bed, not where you left it, not open, not breathing, but closed, and locked. A lock you didn't see before, a lock that wasn't there, a lock shaped like an eye. You re-enter slowly, like stepping into a story mid-sentence. The light inside has changed, paler, dustier, like the colour of a dream that's been forgotten but refuses to fade. You approach the suitcase. It hums, just under the lid, like a voice gagged by fabric, soft and rhythmic. A lullaby played too slow, too late. You kneel before it, press your palm to the top, warm, beating, not like a pulse, like footsteps behind a closed door. You whisper, "What's inside?" The suitcase doesn't answer, but you already know. It's not clothes. It's not photographs. It's versions. Memories folded too tightly. Dreams dressed in coats that no longer fit. Breaths you didn't finish taking. You try the latch. It doesn't budge. You try again. Still sealed. You place your ear to the leather, and inside you hear whispers. Your own voice. Layered. Overlapping. Saying things you've never said aloud. Don't forget the mirror. She was still behind the curtain. You left it open too long. Each phrase feels like a breadcrumb you dropped behind you in a forest you never meant to leave. You knock once, a pause, then a knock returns. From inside, not echoing, answering. You sit back. The suitcase doesn't move, doesn't breathe. But now the lock pulses. The eye-shaped groove in the metal closes. A blink you didn't expect. A blink that saw you. The key is nowhere. You check your pockets, only the button remains, now cold, now cracked. The radio clicks on, static flares, then a voice, yours, but not from now. A younger version, sleepy, confused. I didn't mean to lock it. I just didn't want it to follow me. You flinch. The mirror fogs. You rise, cross the room, and in the reflection, not yourself, but a child, sitting beside the suitcase, small hands on the latch, mouthing something over and over. You lean closer to the glass. Try to read the words. You whisper, "What are you saying?" The reflection stops, looks up, eyes wide. Then it speaks, but you hear nothing. Only the suitcase responds. Another click, another knock. You return. The suitcase has shifted slightly, angled toward the door, like it wants to leave. You step back, speak softly. I can't carry you this time. And somehow it understands. The humming stops. The leather cools. The lock unblinks. Still shut. Still sealed. But quiet now. Sleeping. You sit on the edge of the bed. The snow globe on the windowsill glows faintly. Inside, a suitcase. On a bed, in a cabin, you, staring at it over and over, like a moment trapped inside itself. You pick it up, shake it, snow swirls, settles. The suitcase in the globe clicks open, just slightly, enough to see the button lying alone. You open your hand. Yours is gone, taken back. You whisper, "Did I leave too much inside?" The globe answers by dimming, and the radio by falling silent, and the mirror by showing no one. You lie down. Let your eyes close. Let the suitcase remain locked, because it isn't ready to open. Not yet. Not again. And outside the cabin, the engine begins to hum once more, even though no one turned the key. You wake without waking, not from sleep, from something deeper. A forgetting so old, it's grown roots. You open your eyes and realize they were never closed. You sit up in the bed, heart slow, thoughts slower. And for a moment, the cabin feels unfamiliar, rearranged. The curtain is on the wrong wall. The window faces a road you don't remember walking. The mirror is gone, but your reflection lingers faintly on the surface of the snow globe, which now sits in your lap, warm as a heartbeat, still swirling with slow, uncertain flurries. You glance at the door. It's open. Beyond it, fog, motionless, but you feel movement. You rise, walk toward the doorway, and as you step outside, you see yourself, standing at the porch edge, staring into the trees, still, frozen, unaware. You raise your hand. The other you doesn't move. You try to speak. The fog swallows your voice. You step back inside. You were already inside. You never left. You turn to the bed, still made, pillow fluffed, but the blanket is warm, and there's an imprint, not your own. A dent the shape of someone waiting. You check the suitcase. It's gone. The snow globe still hums softly. You lift it. Inside. The cabin, yes. But now from above. A ceiling you've never seen. A crack forming down the center. A hatch. You remember climbing it. You remember the hall. The mirror. The knocking. You whisper, "How many times have I done this?" The globe answers by blinking once, a pulse of light from within. And then it shifts. Now the scene shows the road again. Only the road. No signs, no trees, no turns. Just straight, stretching forever, lined with identical cabins. Each labelled 6. Each slightly off. A curtain missing. A suitcase opened. A child at the window. A hand reaching out. You lower the globe. Look to the corner. The mirror's back, unfogged. And in it, yourself, sitting on the floor, holding the snow globe, looking lost. You glance down. You're standing, not sitting. So which one of you is now? The reflection raises its head, mouths something. You move closer, lean in, read the lips up, turn around. You do. The door is closed. You didn't hear it, you didn't close it, but it's shut now, and on the inside, scrawled in charcoal, a sentence. You already let them in. The suitcase reappears, center of the room, wide open, empty, but full. You see movement in its lining, the flicker of a photograph, a flash of static, the glint of a mirror shard, and then a hand, too small, too pale, reaching upward as if waiting for yours. You kneel, don't touch, just see. And from deep inside the suitcase, a voice that sounds almost like yours that says, "You forgot you were already here." You try to respond, but you've lost your voice. The radio crackles once, then fades. You look to the curtain, drawn, still, but something breathes behind it. Not the figure, not the memory, just the version of you who didn't leave in time, the one who stayed. You lie down again. The bed accepts you. The snow globe dims. The mirror flickers one last time, and before your eyes close again, you hear yourself knock from outside, asking to be let in, but no one answers, because you already are. You stare at the ceiling. Stillness coats the cabin like dust, that slow, soundless accumulation of waiting. The kind of silence that settles on the forgotten furniture and unopened letters. You don't remember lying down, but the quilt rises with your breath, and the pillow has moulded itself to the shape of your hesitation. The mirror is gone again. The curtain doesn't move, and the clock. You finally see it, not just glimpses, not shadows high in corners. It's hanging above the door now, centered, too low, too obvious. Its face is blank, no numbers, no ticks, just hands, 3 of them, one long, one short, and one that moves only when you blink. You watch, try not to, but eventually your eyes betray you. A single blink. The hands shift, backward. You blink again. They shift again. Not by seconds, by memories. With each blink, the room softens, ages, reverts. The blanket becomes threadbare, then new again, then gone. The suitcase disappears, returns, breathes once, then holds still. You sit up. The clock clicks. Or maybe your neck did. The room feels stretched, not larger, not deeper, just earlier. You stand. The floor groans with a sound it hasn't made in years. You step to the mirror, but it's not a mirror now. It's a photograph, pinned to the wall with a rusted nail, curling at the edges. Black and white, blurry. A child sits on a cabin bed, legs dangling, holding a snow globe in one hand and a flashlight in the other. You know that child. You were them. Or you are. You blink. The clock shifts. Now the room is smaller. Cabin shrunk. Walls closer. The curtain gone. The bed narrower. The window sealed shut with cardboard and tape. You look to the radio. It's covered with a doily. Crocheted. The kind your grandmother used. The kind you buried with her. You blink again. And you're in the motel. For just a moment. The old green carpet. The flickering fluorescent light. The door with the brass numbers stuck on backward. 6 to 9 instead of 9 to 6. You don't belong here anymore. You blink. Cabin again. Window cracked open. Fog rising. Curtain breathing once more. You whisper. Stop. The clock doesn't. You grab the snow globe. Shake it hard. Snow spins wildly. Inside, the hands of the clock. Just floating, disconnected, twitching in reverse. No cabin, no bed, only the hands. Spinning. You throw the globe. It doesn't break. It floats, then drops softly onto the quilt like it never left. You cover your eyes. Keep them closed. Long enough to feel the ticking stop. You open them. The clock is gone. Replaced by a hatch in the ceiling. Half open. Ladder already lowered. Like an invitation. Or a dare. You don't climb. Not this time. You walk to the curtain instead. Place your palm against it. Warm. Breathing. Alive. You ask, which blink was the real one? No answer. But the curtain folds open slightly, reveals a mirror, just tall enough to show your face. And in the reflection, the clock, still counting backward, still blinking. And this time, it's watching you. You open your mouth to speak, nothing. Not even breath. Not even the hush of air parting around shape. Just static. A dry, crackling noise, like radio snow played behind your teeth, like whispers melted into feedback. You try again, slower. A name, your name. But what comes out is the sound of a television caught between ghosts. Your throat hums with the pressure of forgotten syllables. You press your fingers against your neck, feel the vibration there, real, alive, but not yours. The vibration is someone else's voice. Someone else trying to speak through you. You stumble back, the mirror trembles. Inside it, your reflection mouths the same shape you just attempted. But the sound emerges there. Not here. Your voice is trapped behind the glass. And it's whispering things you haven't yet thought. Don't look outside. They're already inside the walls. You weren't supposed to listen. You cover your ears. The static gets louder, not through your ears, through your skin. The floorboards hum. The window panes flicker. The radio turns on, without warning, and broadcasts you. Your voice, from earlier, from another section. a memory looped and cracked. Please, I just want to wake up. You throw the switch. Silence. But the static remains. It climbs your spine like a ladder made of whispers, each vertebrae buzzing with fragments of thought that never belonged to you. You try to scream, a dial tone, long, lonely, a line left open too long. You stagger toward the curtain, clutch it with both hands, but the fabric curls away from your grip, not in resistance, in fear. It doesn't want you now. You've said too much. Even if no one heard it, you back away. The suitcase is on the bed, open, but not breathing. Inside, a tape recorder, old, cracked, playing on loop. You press stop. It doesn't stop. You press eject. The tape flickers, but stays. You press rewind. And suddenly, your voice, back in your throat, sore, dry, but real. You exhale. It stutters, like a cassette catching on torn ribbon. You whisper, hello? The radio responds, hello? But it isn't an echo. It's a call. You, but from somewhere else. Farther down the line. The you who stayed in the attic. The you who turned left at the wrong sign. The you who answered before listening. You speak again. What do you want? The static surges, then subsides, and a phrase, whispered so gently you might have invented it. I want you to forget. The mirror fogs. A word scrawls in breath across the glass. Repeat. You close your eyes, press your palms to your ears. The static shrinks, becomes manageable, becomes background. A breath beneath silence. When you open your eyes again, the room has shifted, not moved, not warped, just rearranged. The window now faces west. The suitcase is beneath the bed. The radio is unplugged but humming, and the mirror shows your mouth moving. But no sound escapes, not even static, just silence, just your voice, lost in translation, looping behind glass, trapped in someone else's memory of yours. It stares back at you, not with hostility, not even with indifference, but with something more unnerving. Absence. The mirror no longer reflects you. Not partially, not late, just not at all. You stand before it, tilt your head, raise your hand. Nothing. Only the cabin behind you, unmoving in glass. Bed, curtain, suitcase, window, all present, all perfectly captured, except you. It's as though you've been edited out of your own moment. You whisper, hello? And the mirror offers no proof you ever spoke. No breath on the glass, no fog. You touch its surface, cold, smooth, unyielding. The kind of cold that feels aware. The kind that remembers every fingertip it's ever held, and every one it let pass without consequence. You knock once, a pause, then a flicker. Not of yourself, but a chair. Brief, flashing into existence and gone in the blink of a gilt. The chair from earlier, the one in the globe, empty, then occupied, then empty again. You whisper, why won't you show me? And the mirror flickers again. This time, it shows the cabin door, wide open, fog curling inward, dragging the dark in with it. You turn around. The door is closed. You look back to the mirror. Now it shows the hallway. Long, familiar, lined with doors, numbered 6. No sound, no movement, just one door ajar. You lean in, closer, closer. And for 1 second, not long enough to feel like seeing, you glimpse something inside. A bed, a figure, lying still, hands crossed, eyes closed, mouth almost smiling. You don't recognize them, but they are dressed in your coat, holding your key, and in their palm, the snow globe. Still, no swirling, frozen. You blink, the mirror goes black, then returns, now showing the room again. Still no reflection, just the cabin in perfect stillness. But something's different. You scan the image, the nightstand, empty in real space, but in the mirror, the radio sits on it. You glance left. It isn't there, only dust, but in the glass. Green dial glowing. You reach toward the nightstand. Fingers meet nothing. You turn back to the mirror. The radio flickers. Gone. Now, the curtain is open. You check behind you. It isn't. Still sealed. Still pulsing gently, like something behind it is practicing how to speak without being heard. You return to the mirror. And now, you're there. But wrong. You're standing too still. Your head is tilted too far to the left. And your eyes, they don't blink. They don't follow. They just watch. Fixed. You raise your hand. So does the reflection. But there's a beat too long between you. You speak. Are you me? The reflection smiles, but only with its mouth. The eyes remain wide, fixed, ancient. And then it says nothing, not aloud, just on the glass. A single phrase scrawled in fog across the pane. You were never the one looking. Your stomach tightens, the floor creaks behind you. You spin. Nothing. Only the sound of the mirror fogging again. But now, no image. Only fog. Only silence. You reach for the glass again, desperate. Wanting to see something, anything. Yourself, the cabin, proof that you're still here. But the mirror will not have you. It will not hold you. It will not remember you. You whisper again. No echo. No breath. Only glass. Only rejection. Only the feeling of your voice being lost between reflections. The first time was a dream, or you told yourself it was. The second time was déjà vu, subtle enough to ignore, easy enough to fold into coincidence. But by the third, you could feel it. The quiet pull behind your eyes when the curtain breathes the same way, when the mirror forgets you again, when the radio speaks before you ask. Now, you remember everything, not clearly, not like a book recalled line by line, but like music heard through a neighbour's wall, muffled, shifting, always playing the same song, whether or not you're listening. You sit on the bed because you always do. The snow globe waits on the nightstand because it always has. You pick it up. Inside, a loop. A road curled into itself. Each bend lined with cabins. Each cabin labelled 6. In the centre of the loop, a clock. Its hands spin backward, then forward, then freeze. At 3:33 a.m. You whisper. This isn't the first time, is it? The radio turns on. You don't touch it. The dial glows pale green. Static first, then no, little moth. A pause, and not the last. You close your eyes. Feel the loop turning beneath your skin, like a carousel buried under muscle, like a map drawn across your ribs in chalk and ash. You remember the chair, the field, the headlights that blink and never return. You remember knocking on the mirror, answering yourself behind the curtain, finding the button then losing it again. And worst of all, you remember forgetting. Each time, the loop resets just enough, moves the mirror, changes the angle of the road, rewrites the sound of your voice, but never enough to break it. You set the snow globe down. It rattles once, then stills. The mirror appears where the window should be, now cracked, split neatly down the center. In it, you, all of you, every you, layered like film strips, semi-transparent, overlapping, each with slightly different posture. Some asleep, some standing, some reaching out. One knocks, and behind that knock, faintly scratched into the glass, the road doesn't end. It loops. The words echo through your bones. You whisper, "I want out." The suitcase clicks open. Not an invitation, a reminder. Inside, a key, carved with the number 7. You've never seen that number before. Not here, not once. You hold it carefully, as if it might dissolve. The curtain shifts. Slow, deliberate. You rise, cross the room, stand before it. The air smells like the attic, like your grandmother's hallway, like every version of you that turned left instead of right. You pull it aside. No wall, no mirror, no breath, just a door, new, tall, painted the color of absence, and on its surface, carved deep but careful, "Do not enter unless you remember." You don't move, because you do remember. You remember looping before. You remember what happens next. You remember that sometimes you walk through anyway. You press your ear to the door. Nothing. But silence isn't empty here. It's heavy, wet, humming. The kind of silence that follows truth too closely. You knock 3 times. Pause. 3 again. And from the other side, a hand knocks back. You don't open the door. Not yet. It waits, tall, breathless, humming faintly through its own stillness. But you step back from it. The air feels heavier now, like the cabin's breathing has reversed. Inhale when you exhale. Silence when you speak. You let the curtain fall back into place. Its fabric rests against your knuckles, like skin grown cold. Curtains don't hide people. Not here. They bury them. Each fold a layer of memory, stitched from the same material as lullabies you weren't supposed to outgrow. You run your hand along the seam. The curtain stiffens under your touch. Resists, as though it knows you've begun to see through it. You take a breath, hold it, then turn. The suitcase is gone again. The bed is unmade. The mirror returned. But this time, covered. A sheet hangs loosely over it, pale and humming. You approach it slowly, like a body laid out in a room too quiet. You lift the edge of the fabric, but you stop, because underneath, the glass is dark. not black, just without light. It doesn't reflect, it absorbs. You lower the cloth, not out of fear, out of respect. You walk to the window, rain falls again, finally, downward, like it's supposed to. And yet, each drop that hits the glass leaves behind a shape, not a splatter, not a line, an eye. You lean in, the eyes blink, not in rhythm, each one its own, watching, waiting. You whisper, who do you belong to? And from behind you, a voice, not yours, not the child's, not your grandmother's, soft, dry, close. The ones still buried. You turn. No one, only the curtain. Still, but thicker now. You step toward it again. Lift the hem. Behind it, wall. No door, no void. But marks, lines carved into the wood. Tally marks. Dozens. No, hundreds. Each etched by the same hand. Each drawn carefully, gently. Not desperate, but patient. You trace one with your finger. It's deep, old. The kind of mark that takes intention. Commitment. You whisper, how many times have I been here? A breeze. No source. It lifts the curtain gently. Not to reveal, but to mourn. And beneath it, a scent. Familiar. Powder. Dust. The sweater your grandmother wore when she stood too long in silence, waiting for your voice to return. The floor creaks, not yours. Behind you, you turn. The mirror is uncovered, but there's no reflection. Only the curtain and the chair, and behind the chair, a small figure, sitting, still, facing away. You don't want to speak. You don't want to wake them, but you do, softly. Are you me? The figure doesn't answer, just lifts one hand, waves, twice, and fades. Not into fog, into fabric, like being folded, one breath at a time. You're alone again, but the room is full of presence, full of curtains, full of every version of you that stayed behind, wrapped and stitched and hidden in the folds, not trapped, not erased, just buried, like memory, like breath, like stories that weren't supposed to be told. The radio clicks, a soft sound, like the start of a lullaby. You don't listen. You walk to the curtain. Kneel. Place your hand against the marks. Carve one more. You don't cry. You just whisper. Don't bury me here. The curtain shifts, like it heard, like it might try to remember, like it already knows it won't. You leave the cabin again, not through the front, not through the door, but through the side. A wall that shouldn't open, but parts like breath under pressure. You press your palm to the boards, and they dissolve like paper in rain. Beyond, fog, and behind that, the suggestion of a path, not visible, just implied. Like the road remembers you better than you remember it. You step out barefoot. The grass is cool, wet, gentle. It curls slightly around your toes like it wants you to stay. You look for the road. It isn't there. You walk anyway. Because that's how you've always found it. Never by searching, only by forgetting to look. You close your eyes, take one slow step forward, Then another. A breeze slips past your ear, warm, familiar, carrying the scent of leather and mothballs and something burning in a distant field. You keep walking. The ground beneath you shifts from grass to gravel. You don't see it. You feel it. That soft crunch beneath your heel. The rhythm your feet remember before your mind agrees. You open your eyes. The road is there, stretching forward, not marked, not lit, just present. It curves gently to the left, like a question you've already asked too many times. You follow, no signs, no lights, no sounds, just you, and the steady hush of your breath sinking with the rhythm of the fog. You try not to blink, because you remember the clock, because you remember what time does here. Still, you blink, and the road is gone. Now trees, now water, a shallow stream that glows faintly blue, rippling without source. You crouch, touch the surface. It's warm. You see your reflection, but not you. A child, holding a flashlight, wearing the coat you buried behind the curtain. They blink, and you're alone again. You whisper, "Where did I go?" And from the stream, a whisper back, "You didn't." You rise. The road is behind you now, unwound like ribbon from a box that's already been opened. You walk it backwards, not by choice, by need. Each step returning something to the world. A signpost, a suitcase on the shoulder, a flicker of headlights lost in the bend. You glance over your shoulder. The cabin is closer now, but you never turned around. It just waited and followed. You stop. The gravel beneath you shifts. The road starts to fade again. You look away, forward, up, and the road returns beneath your feet. Solid, present, patient. You close your eyes once more. The air stills. You hear a new sound. Not the engine, not the radio. A voice. Your voice. From farther ahead, calling your name, but not as a question, as a memory, as something rehearsed too many times. You open your eyes. There is no one there, but a mirror leans against a tree, cracked, dusty. You approach it. It doesn't show you. It shows the road, stretching behind you, empty. You step aside. The reflection stays still, not a mirror, a photograph. You touch the glass, and the gravel beneath you vanishes. You fall, only a few inches, into yourself, into the loop. The fog closes around you. You don't fight, because this is what happens. This is the cost of looking. The road only exists when you're not watching it. It starts before you re-enter, while you're still outside, while the gravel finishes unmaking itself behind your footsteps, while the fog pretends it doesn't know your name. You hear it, low, melodic, broken. The sound of an old radio playing something that shouldn't exist anymore. Not a song, not static, not speech, something in between. The kind of sound you remember without having heard it. The kind of sound that waits until you're falling asleep to whisper its second verse. You follow it. Back into the cabin. The door is ajar. You don't remember leaving it that way, but the curtain doesn't move, and the windows have sealed themselves shut. Inside, the light is different. Not warm, not cold, just slow, slowed down, like time has been smeared across the furniture. The radio sits on the bed. You never placed it there, but it plays softly, the same sequence on loop. A note, a pause, a breath, and then your voice. Softer than you've ever heard it, tired, kind. You made it farther this time. You sit, not because you're tired, but because the radio sounds like it's speaking through you, not to you. You listen. You almost reached the door. You glance toward the curtain, still sealed, but the shape behind it is gone. No breath, no presence, just quiet. You let go of the suitcase. The bed creaks, not under your weight, under memory, under repetition. You open the nightstand drawer. Inside, a folded napkin, identical to the one before. Same handwriting, same lipstick kiss, but the message is new. It ends when you listen. The radio crackles. A melody begins. One chord, repeated, familiar. Your grandmother's lullaby, slowed to near stillness. Every note heavy with something unsaid. You lift the radio, hold it close to your chest. It hums in rhythm with your pulse. You whisper, "Is this the last time?" The radio answers by turning off. You set it down. It clicks back on. Now a new voice, still yours, but older. We never leave. We'll only forget the way back. You stand. Walk to the mirror. Now a television screen. Snow crackling across the glass. A tape inserted. Auto-playing. You watch grainy footage. The cabin. The road. Yourself. Entering, sitting, watching, knocking. Each version layered over the next. 1,000 yous looped and looping. And the radio whispers. Say goodbye this time. You turn. The suitcase is open. Empty. The curtain lifts, without wind, without invitation, and behind it, just wall, but carved into the wood. Rest here. You sit again, snow globe in your lap, still swirling, still uncertain. Inside, a chair, one chair, occupied by someone whose face is never clear. You, but not. The radio plays the final note. Then silence. No fade. Just stillness. You whisper into the room. Goodbye. And the mirror, the suitcase, the curtain, the snow globe. They don't vanish. They listen. Because this time, you didn't knock. You answered. And the loop slows. Not stops, just slows. Enough to breathe, enough to remember, enough to rest. It's lying on the floor. At first you think it's just paper, maybe the napkin again, maybe another scribbled warning or message from a version of you one loop ahead. But when you bend to pick it up, the weight tells you otherwise. It's the photograph. The photograph. The one from the suitcase. The one that kept changing. You hold it now, trembling slightly in the corners, soft from being handled too often by hands not always yours. You turn it over. No writing, just that bend in the road again. Fog thick, trees reaching inward, and in the centre, you, standing, as always, or almost always, because this time you're fading, not from the edges like time does, from the centre, as if light has finally learned how to forget you. You stare. Your hands are solid. The room is still here. But in the image, your form is incomplete. A smear of shadow. A posture recalled, but not captured. You're leaving. And you remember, this is how it ends. Not with doors slamming, not with loops shattering, but with vanishing. Gradual, gentle. You walk to the mirror. It reflects the photo now, not the room, not yourself, just the image, over and over, in an infinite series of reflections that narrow, then collapse inward like a throat closing over a word never spoken. You lift the photograph higher, and the mirror copies it. But the cabin in the mirror is empty. The figure is gone. The fog has crept forward, curling into the porch. Inside the globe, still clutched in your other hand, the cabin is there. But the lights are off. The chair is turned away. The door is ajar. You shake the globe once. The snow falls backward, time refusing to progress. You speak, barely. Am I gone? And the radio, silent until now, clicks softly. A single reply. Almost. You glance at the photograph again. The figure is no longer visible. Just the bend in the road. The empty gravel. A trail of footprints that end before the turn. You close your eyes. Try to remember what you were wearing. Try to remember which version of yourself this was. The one who knocked, the one who climbed, the one who buried the button. They blur together now, soft, forgiven. You open your eyes. The photo falls from your hand, lands without a sound. But the mirror shows it landing forever, on loop, the same fall, over and over, until even that fades. You look down at your arms, still here, but the edges feel loose, unanchored, as though your outline is fraying from inside the light. The bed is made again, the suitcase closed. The snow globe sits still. No motion, no swirl, just the image of a cabin with the curtains drawn and the light off. You sit, fold your hands in your lap, and let the mirror finish, forgetting you. Not erasing, just removing, as softly as a breath leaving a window cracked too long. You whisper, "If I'm gone, who's left?" The photograph answers by curling at the edges. A single word etched faintly into its corner. Sleep. And below it, 3:33 a.m. Exactly. Always. Now. You lean back. The mirror doesn't reflect. The photograph fades. The room breathes. And somewhere behind the curtain, no one waits. It doesn't chime. It drips. At first, you think it's water, some slow leak above the mirror, condensation rolling off forgotten rafters. But then you look up, and the clock is no longer ticking. It's sagging. The hands have softened. The face has begun to run. Numbers slide from their places, smearing into each other like chalk caught in rain. The colon between the threes pulses once, then begins to bleed downward in a thin, inky thread, drawing a line straight through the cabin stillness. You glance toward the snow globe. still, silent. But the image within begins to ripple, like someone dropped a stone into its miniature gravity. The cabin inside the glass bends at its centre, walls buckling softly, roof curling downward, as if time inside has reached a soft boil. You know the moment. 3:33 m. Not a time. A state. The loop's heartbeat. Everything happens here. Everything resets here. Everything ends, or forgets to. The mirror shows nothing now. Not a reflection. Not the room. Just the numbers. 3:33. Flickering like a dying neon sign. You reach for the radio. It turns on before your fingers meet it. A voice plays, not yours, not quite. A version of you from before the curtain, before the door, before the loop. I don't want to wake up here again. Static, then laughter, gentle, but wrong. The kind of laugh people make when they've been alone too long and forgot how to sound human. The curtain is breathing again, fast, shallow, panicked. Like it knows the loop is collapsing, like it fears being left behind. You walk to it. The suitcase appears again, closed, but shaking. You don't touch it. You whisper to the curtain. It's melting, isn't it? The fabric trembles, then stills. A reply. You draw it aside, expecting nothing, seeing only yourself. Standing on the other side, not mirrored, not distorted, just there, real, wearing the same clothes, holding the same snow globe, looking tired, looking ready. You speak at the same time. Time's up. You step forward. So do they. There is no collision. Only merging, a quiet folding. You become the figure, or they become you. It doesn't matter now. The loop acknowledges it. The radio cuts. The clock melts through its last moment. 3:33, 3, 3, 3, 3. And then, no numbers at all. Just a blank circle, pulsing like a sealed eye. The mirror fogs. The suitcase exhales. The snow globe turns to liquid in your palm, running between your fingers like syrup, like oil, like time trying to escape its container. You sit one last time, on the bed, in the cabin, in yourself, and you say aloud, I remember everything. The curtain stops breathing. The clock disappears. The light fades. Not to black, to grey, to soft, soundless, hallway-coloured quiet. You close your eyes and wait for the door you haven't seen yet. The one that only appears when time no longer remembers your name. You wake to stillness, not silence. The room hums faintly. A soft buzz in the walls, like old electricity remembering its function, but a stillness that reaches deeper. The kind that doesn't ask you to move. The kind that wraps around your ankles and whispers, stay. For the first time, the curtain doesn't breathe. You rise slowly. The bed is too soft, the floor too dry. The suitcase sits where it always does, closed, behaving, but the air smells like endings. You walk to the curtain, not with hesitation, with ritual. You've done this before, maybe hundreds of times, maybe one. It's hard to measure time when the clocks melt and mirrors erase you. You reach for the fabric, cold, smooth, No movement beneath, no tension, no pull. You whisper, "Are you still there?" Nothing. You draw the curtain back. Behind it, the wall. No door, no mirror, no shape waiting in shadow. Just wood, dust, stillness. You step back, tilt your head, as if the angle might reveal something the moment is trying to hide. But there's no one behind the curtain. Not anymore. Not ever. You cross to the mirror. It shows you now, fully, exactly as you are, but not as you feel. There's something missing in your posture, a weight no longer carried, a memory set down and forgotten where you can't reach it again. Your eyes are yours, but they don't blink right. You try to smile. The reflection doesn't follow. It watches, then fades. You're alone again. You sit on the edge of the bed, open the suitcase. Inside, the photograph. Only one. Crisp, clean, unbent. It shows the cabin. Lights off, curtains still, and no figure in the window. No watcher, no loop. You set it aside. The radio hums once, then stops. You lift the snow globe. Inside, nothing. Not even snow. Just a clear orb of stillness, as though the world inside has gone to sleep. You shake it. Silence. You whisper, "I don't want to stay." And the room listens. It doesn't answer, but it hears. That's enough. The mirror fogs at the edges. The curtain closes by itself, gently, with reverence. The clock, new now, replaced, ticks once. A single click, like a match struck but never lit. 3:33 a.m. never appears. Only the hush that follows it. You lie down. For the first time, the bed feels like rest, not return. You close your eyes, and the last thing you hear is your own voice. You left the curtain open too long. A pause. But it finally closed. No loop, no reset. Just the quiet weight of the moment finally holding. No one behind the curtain. Not anymore. Just the room. Just the breath. Just the hush. Waiting. It doesn't call you. Not at first. It waits. Hangs at the edges of the windows like a forgotten invitation, folded and refolded until the creases became its memory. You rise from the bed. You don't know how long you've been lying there. The quilt has softened beneath you, worn smooth by stillness. The snow globe is gone. The curtain hangs closed, but no longer holds a breath. You open the door. Fog leans forward, not rushing, not overtaking, just present, curious. You step outside. The air is thick and soundless, the kind of quiet that pushes against your eardrums like pressure underwater. You speak. "Hello." And the fog responds. Not with echo, not with wind, but with your name, whispered, clearly, from every direction. Your name. No distortion, no trick of thought, the way someone you love says your name in a dream. You step onto the gravel. It gives beneath your feet like it's been waiting for your weight. You walk, not toward anything, but away from the cabin, because the cabin has already released you. It won't chase. The fog wraps around your shoulders, soft and damp and impossibly warm. And then, from somewhere nearby, you hear it again. Your name, sung this time, low and looping, a melody that holds only one word. The syllables stretch and rise, like fog mimicking the shape of memory. You try not to follow, but you do, because you always have. A signpost appears in the fog, not nailed down, not standing, just leaning against nothing. You read it. You are here. You whisper, but I don't know where here is. And the fog answers. You. You walk further. The suitcase is on the path, closed, but smaller now, child-sized, painted blue, the way it looked when you first packed it for that motel trip with your grandmother. You kneel beside it, place your hand on the handle. It doesn't breathe. It hums, faint, lullaby soft, a vibration you feel in your spine. You don't open it. You've learned. Instead, you carry it, just for a while. You step into the trees. The fog thickens, but your name grows louder, never shouted, always whispered, always yours. You pause at a clearing. In the center, a mirror, cracked, resting against a stump. You approach. This time, it doesn't show you. It shows the road, the bend, the place where you always stand. But now, it's empty. Only fog on gravel. No figure, no loop. You look behind you. The cabin is gone, not vanished, just removed, erased gently, the way a parent peels off a bandage. You whisper into the fog, "What do you want from me?" And it answers, to remember. A beat, then again, to let go. The suitcase disappears from your hand. You don't drop it. You just stop needing to carry it. You step forward. The fog parts slightly, reveals a single sign, nailed to a tree, low to the ground, painted in white. Rest here. You sit, not on a chair, just the grass. Soft, cool, quiet. The fog curls around you. The last thing you hear is your name, said the way no one else ever says it. Not a question, not a warning, just recognition. And then, silence. Full, final, familiar. It's waiting for you again. Somehow, not on the road, not in the cabin, but inside you. A weight behind the ribs. A hollow shaped like a box you swore you already buried. But it hums now, faintly. A low vibration that grows louder the closer you come to stillness. The suitcase is back. You don't remember when it returned, only that it's near, at your feet, on the grass, damp from fog, dustless, untouched, and sealed, this time with a clasp. A lock you don't remember choosing. You kneel. The metal is warm, impossibly so, as if it just came from someone else's hand. You search your pockets, no key, just the echo of one, the memory of weight, the shape of metal against palm, the tiny bite of ridges pressing into skin. You close your eyes, try to feel it, try to summon it the way you always do, from memory, from fog, from loops already past. But nothing comes. Only the quiet. You whisper, "I think I locked it." And the suitcase answers, Just once, a soft click, the sound of finality, of something sealed, not out of fear, but out of mercy. You rest your hand on the lid. It doesn't pulse, doesn't breathe, it just waits. Behind you, the trees lean in. The fog curls upward, not as a threat, as witness, as a congregation of absence, gathering to say farewell. You open your mouth to speak and feel the shape of a key on your tongue. Cold, unforgiving. You don't reach for it. You swallow, because you know now. You locked the suitcase, but you left the key inside. You press your forehead to the lid. It's cool. Smells of cedar, of rain, of endings sewn too tightly into beginnings. You whisper into the grain, keep it closed. And the lock responds, not with sound, but stillness. The kind of stillness only trust can build. The kind that knows some things are not meant to be reopened. You stand, let the suitcase remain. The grass bends as you move, softly, gratefully. The mirror no longer shows reflections. It only displays a window, one that faces the ocean. Waves moving backward, sky looping in reverse. No sound, just motion. Peaceful, unreal. You approach the radio. It clicks once. A final time, and from it, the child's voice. Thank you for locking it. You smile. Small, the kind that breaks something gently in your chest. Because you understand, you didn't fail. You remembered. This time you remembered. The suitcase, the key, the curtain, your name, the time. And the sound of someone finally choosing not to open what hurt them. You walk to the window, lift the latch, let the fog enter, not to hide, to settle, to sleep. You sit on the floor, back against the wall, curtain still, mirror empty, clock gone. The air sighs. You whisper, you can stop now. And for once, the room does. You do not rise this time. You lie where you are, back against wood, knees drawn close, breath slowed to a hush. The cabin has no questions left. The curtain no longer moves. It hangs like a memory released, a thought that untangled itself in the dark and chose never to return. Sleep takes the shape of a curtain now, long, heavy, folded in the corners of your vision. It drapes across your thoughts, smooth and cool, and you let it cover you. Not to hide, not to forget, but to rest. The snow globe is beside you again, but now the snow doesn't fall. It simply waits. Inside the globe, nothing. No cabin, no road, just a wide, soft grey that holds no fear. You do not shake it, you do not peer in, you only place a hand on its surface. It is warm, like a goodbye said properly. The suitcase is nowhere to be seen, no locks, no breath, no weight behind your ribs. What you packed is sealed, and what you carried you've left behind. The mirror is fogged. You do not wipe it. You do not try to see yourself. Because this moment is no longer about reflection. It is about release. The radio clicks on, softly. A hum. No voices now. No loops. Just sound. Low. Endless. Kind. You listen. It is the same sound as your grandmother's room in winter. The same as the hum inside the curtain when you were too young to know what dreams were trying to say. You close your eyes. But you don't fall. You drift. You drift past the curtain's folds, past the porch and the path and the sign that no longer points to anything. You drift through the fog that now knows your name but no longer needs to whisper it. You drift past the snow globe's horizon into the soft grey where nothing loops and nothing hides. You drift, no longer held by story or shape or voice. Only sleep remains, and silence, waiting. You drift, not outward, not upward, but inward, into the soft hollow left behind by the curtain's last breath. The room dissolves behind your closed eyes, not in fear, not in fire, but like pages soaked through with rain. Quietly, naturally. A letting go written in sleep. No footsteps follow you. No ticking chases you. Even the mirror has learned to forget your outline. You feel the snow globe in your hand melt to memory. You feel the suitcase sigh one final time, then fold itself shut somewhere far from now. There is no cabin anymore. Only space where memory used to live. Only fog, curled like a blanket around the thought of you. No more radio, no more curtain, no more version of yourself knocking from the other side. Just this. The hush, the weightless room, the perfect stillness. You drift, no longer held by story or shape or voice. Only sleep remains, and silence, waiting. End of script. Sweet dreams.